Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting our paper titled HabitGraph, an interdisciplinary framework for habit formation using network theory and data analytics. This work was prepared for the fourth Global Multidisciplinary Conference on Social Sciences and Education and Technology. The central idea of this paper is simple but powerful. Instead of treating habits as an isolated behavior, we propose understanding them as interconnected systems that influence one time over another. Habit formation is widely recognized as difficult. Research consistently shows that over 90% of habit change attempts fail, whether those habits relate to health, productivity, or lifestyle. One reason for this failure is that when people struggle with one habit, the effects often spill over into other areas of daily life. For example, poor sleep may lead to skipping exercise, unhealthy eating, reduced focus, and lower motivation. However, most existing approaches do not explicitly account for these interdependencies. Traditional habit research and most digital habit tracking tools tend to focus on single habits in isolation. Behavior is often modeled in a linear way. One cue leads to one action followed by one reward. While these approaches are grounded in strong behavioral theory, they overlook how habits interact dynamically in real life. As a result, many tools track behavior effectively, but do not explain why habits fail together or succeed together. One key insight is that habits form systems rather than independent units. Some habits reinforce multiple others, while some habits act as weak points that destabilize the entire routine. This means habit failure can spread in a cascading manner, but success can also propagate positively. Recognizing habits as a part of system allows us to shift from asking which habit should I track to which habit matters most. Regarding interdisciplinary foundations, our work draws from multiple disciplines. From behavioral science, we build on habit loops, reinforcement, and self-regulation. With respect to behavioral economics, we draw on concepts such as loss aversion and commitment mechanisms. With respect to social sciences, we incorporate accountability and social enforcement. Finally, from network theory, we adopt ideas such as centrality, influence, and cascading effects. Habit graphs integrate these perspectives into a single analytical framework. Let's talk about the main concept of habit graph. Habit graph basically represents habits as a network. Each habit is a node, and the connections between habits represent influenced relationships. These connections are directed, meaning one habit increases the likelihood or effectiveness of another. Importantly, the framework focuses on system level behavior change rather than isolated actions. This figure, for example, it illustrates a simple habit graph of daily routines. Habits are color coded based on their usual timing. For example, over here, if you see in the figure, red node is for morning habits, green is for daytime habits, and blue for evening or nighttime habits. Directed arrows indicate how one habit influences another. For example, sleeping by 11 p.m. increases the likelihood of waking up by 7 a.m., which in turn increases the likelihood of morning exercise. Exercise then feeds back positively into sleep quality, forming a reinforcing loop. The key takeaways from the habit graph and the previous figure, as you have seen, the figure also shows how habits outside the morning routine matter. Taking breaks during the workday supports disengaging from work in the evening, which helps reduce screen use and improve sleep. What emerges clearly is that waking up early is connected to many other habits. This makes it a keystone habit a habit whose success disproportionately affects the rest of the system. The habit graph framework follows four main steps. First, habit related data is collected from tracking tools or public datasets. Second, habits are mapped into a network structure. Third, network analysis is applied to identify key habits and patterns. Finally, the results are used to inform personalized feedback and intervention strategies. Regarding the data and graph construction, habit graph can be constructed using public datasets, self-reported logs, or digital habit trackers. Habits become nodes and relationships are inferred using a combination of temporal patterns, statistical associations, and user reflection. This hybrid approach balances data-driven insights with individual lived experience. Once the graph is constructed, we apply network analysis techniques. Centrality measures help identify keystone habits. Clustering reveals groups of habits that reinforce each other. Influence path follow allows us to stimulate how habit success or failure propagates through the system. This enables both diagnostic and predictive insights. The case studies, the simulated case studies, you can say, using public habit tracking data and simulated scenarios, we evaluated the framework. The analysis consistently showed that early waking had the highest centrality. Sleep quality emerged as a critical supporting habit. Feedback loops played a stabilizing role, while single habit failures often led to cascading breakdowns. These findings align with both behavioral theory and everyday experience. Regarding the practical implications, habit graph has practical implications across domains. For individuals, it helps prioritize habits that matter most. For coaches and therapists, it supports system aware intervention design. For technology developers, it suggests new directions for habit tracking systems that go beyond simple streaks. There are important limitations to acknowledge. For example, like establishing causality between habits remains challenging. Data quality and self-reporting biases must be addressed. Ethical considerations, particularly privacy and user autonomy, are central. Habit analysis should empower users, not control them. In conclusion, habits operate as interconnected systems, not isolated behaviors. Network analysis provides a powerful lens to identify leverage points for change. Habit graph bridges behavioral theory, social science, and data analytics. By targeting the right habit, it is possible to transform the entire routine system. Thank you for your attention, and I'll be looking forward for any of the questions. Thank you.